Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Today is Wednesday, the first of the month. I don't know if any of you guys have children, but mine first day back at school, nice and quiet in the house. I have Alan S. with me, whose children have all graduated, haven't moved on because I saw them at the party, so they're still sticking around. But I'd like to turn it over to Alan to see his thoughts as far as the market, what we think September is going to bring, and maybe look at a couple of stocks that had some action today. So, Alan?
So a couple things I found that I wanted to just point out. First of all, the first of the month. You have to go ahead and be in calls or at least take a small position because the first of the month usually is always up. Now we saw some danger signs today because it did not hold at all. It actually went ahead and gave back the gains very quickly. I had a pretty large position in AXP calls. Started out very nice in the beginning of the day and very quickly disintegrated, and it went ahead and went from being up to being down. So that's not a good telltale sign going into the beginning of September, because that's really telling us that we're going to see a down September from our indications for the first day of the month. I found Google, which I played last night, bought into it, is that it started up really nice, sold on the first 5-minute bar, and then I got out and had a real nice gain on it. It was actually a very profitable trade. What happened though, which is a bad sign, is that Google went ahead and went down after it hit its highs, could not hold its highs, could not hold the strong 5-minute high, and literally went ahead and went back to being range bound. A range bound stock is in between the 5-minute high and the 5-minute low. So let me show you what I look for. Now, this is Google at the end of the day before Brian goes in and moves it on. It is a very solid sign that Google should go up tomorrow with the last 5 minutes of the day. So you had a lot of buyers jumping into it. It's making new highs, and it's not went ahead and pulled back from making a new high yet. So that's a good sign. We had Chewy came into earnings today. On paper, didn't look too bad in the call position. But what I found out on earnings is that I don't really care what happens out of the money. I care what happens in the money. In the money is in the shaded blue. You went ahead and had a huge position at the 90 puts, which that would have been your deep in the money. You had a hammer at 88, and then you had a follow through at 87.50 at 1310. Now, the reason I point this out is that you would have got fooled looking at the calls. Now, if you're not following the market, Chewy dropped $8 after market close. The big thing is there's no money in the shaded area. I found this out because this is really a big issue, because the thing is that's what drives the market. Now, if we look at the last 5-minute bar of the day, I want you to see something else unique. So what do you see?
Look at that red column.
So do they know something? Obviously they know something. Did they go ahead and liquidate their position? No, of course they liquidated the position. Now look at the graph for the entire day. You literally had 2 to 3 times as much on the last 5-minute before the 5-minute, and then you did on the whole day. Now I say that is because if you look at the bottom, now that's where those little were Brian has the little dot at right now.
Yeah, those
Notice
volumes.
that it was pretty much did not move the needle at all. Got some movement at the end of the day, but the big issue is that you saw huge liquidation and the red candle went ahead and dropped pretty severely. That's a pretty big drop in the last 5 minutes of the day. A lot of times people don't wait to the exact 5 minutes because they can't. They have a big enough position. They got to go ahead and move and get out quick. Now, interesting enough, if you would have played the Zoom puts, you would have found Zoom had the same exact situation. They went ahead and they got out of that in that last 5 minutes also. So that was the other day. I wonder if you might still bring that up. I don't know. We'll see how it does. So Zoom, which makes a lot of sense, just did not have it. It's ZM is Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Now what a drop that had. Wow. Yeah, if you do a 2-day chart. Yeah, it's not showing it as well, but it kind of is, because if you go in front of that green, which was they were trying to rally that back in the beginning of the day. If you go to the next one, you'll see you got 2 big red bars right there. Yeah, to the left of that. Yeah, there you go. See, there's 2 big ones. So, and those weren't at the end of the day. Let me rephrase it. Those are the end of the day. That big green one was the beginning of the day today. So
I wonder, let's see if can we get this. There we go.
Yeah.
Basically the 20 SMA. So I'm guessing that the day before was even higher.
Yeah, it sure was. So this is how when I do earnings, I have rules for earnings. And in those rules, it basically we're looking for certain things. I'm looking for the last 5 minutes to confirm my pick, that I'm going the right way. I'm making sure they're only in the shaded area, because that's what's driving it, because those are the deep in the money. And then I'm going ahead and making sure that, this is today. Well, and that was, I bet you Zoom would probably be a nice play tomorrow on the, even though there's no deep in the money, you notice that?
All this volume out here at the 300 level.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a nice position, but, and you got a nice one at the 295, but it's not deep. But you do have, if you wanted to play that, you actually had a reason to do it. So I'm trying to think, that was a great example right there. There was another earnings play today too, which is 5 below. If you bring that up, it's F5.
Is that FIV?
FIVE, yeah.
5.
Then it dropped like $20 in earnings. Now 5 below usually goes up, but what tells me what's going to happen is that there's no buys in the shaded area.
Yeah.
So where's the buys at? No buys. So on earnings, you always want to go ahead and favor puts. That's just the way it is. So you're probably, because 5 below went up $3, all the really your only money play is on the 215 puts, if you can see that. See
Okay.
that would have normally been in the shaded area if it didn't go up $3. You see what I'm saying?
Right, yeah. Yeah, those would have been in the money in the morning or at the
Yeah.
open.
Yeah, and so though, but those are your biggest play. And what I'd like to do is I like to add those up. You got 1,027 times $630. So what that is that's $647,000 in puts. And then and then how did it do after market? Are you able to bring it up on, if you bring up the stock, you can do bid and ask.
Let's see, go back. 5. There we go.
See bid and ask 195.
Yeah.
Now let me show you one more thing. Go to the option chain again. You see all the ones at 200 and 190.
Yeah.
Now unless
Right.
I miss my guess, do you know what that's running to tomorrow? 190. And because that's where they're at. So that always helps me to determine how a stock's going to do on earnings. So excellent. Well, I'm glad we kind of hit some on the earnings. To me, earnings is usually a great way to make income, make money. And so where do I see the market going? I think going into the high holidays, I think we see a downturn. So I think that's just the way it's going to happen. So I would look next week to be in short. I always tell people don't go crazy. You don't know what's going to happen, but it should be short next week.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, I don't want to see this. SMA. We're kind of flat on gold here, right
Well,
at the 20 SMA.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. Go to Google, GOOG.
I think GOOG made a new high today, didn't it?
Yeah, but look at how overextended that is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that's got to come back down.
It's a 100-point drop. But the key thing, and I've learned this the hard way so many times, do not ever go against Google or any stock that's making a new high.
Right, exactly. Yeah, let that new high to fail.
As soon as that new high fails, jump all over it. It should go ahead and pay very well.
Yeah, so. Right. Okay, well, thank you. Thanks for the insight.
Yes, and I will join you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Alan.
All right, we'll talk to you.
Sure.